Atlanta just turned into the set of the most chaotic reality show that VH1, Netflix, and HBO Max could never afford to produce. Forget scripted drama, because this is real life on steroids. King Harris, the son of rap legend T.I. and R&B powerhouse Tiny, is back in the headlines. And this time, it's not for diner brawls or Instagram meltdowns. No, this one's darker, heavier, and 10 times juicier. Word from behind those sterile hospital walls. A final ICU report so devastating that the Harris family didn't just shed tears, they collapsed. And when I say collapsed, I don't mean a single dramatic faint like some soap opera extra. I mean full-on chaos, the kind of meltdown that makes the Kardashians' crying faces look like polite yawns. Doctors' words reportedly dropped like a nuke in the ICU, leaving the family gasping, fans spiraling, and the internet foaming at the mouth for details. And trust me, those details, they're not just tragic, they're nuclear-level scandal fuel. This isn't just a get-well-soon situation. This is a final report that has Atlanta in shock, Hollywood whispering, and the internet already writing obituaries. And guess what? You're about to hear every messy, heartbreaking, scandal-soaked detail they don't want you to know. Let's rewind this chaotic saga. Because King Harris's name didn't just pop up in ICU headlines out of nowhere. Nope, this wasn't some random twist of fate. This was years of public drama, family feuds, and viral chaos finally boiling over like a pressure cooker with no lid. And when it finally exploded, it wasn't a soft pop. It was a sonic boom that shook Atlanta, cracked Twitter, and made TikTok timelines look like a digital obituary feed. For those living under a rock, King Harris isn't your typical celebrity kid. He's the crown prince of hip-hop royalty, the son of T.I., the self-proclaimed King of the South, and Tiny, the woman who's been holding down the Harris empire with more patience than a saint babysitting demons. But unlike other celeb kids who choose quiet lives with trust funds and private schools, King made one bold decision early on. He was going to live loud. Loud on Instagram, loud in public, loud in every diner, street corner, and live stream he touched. And let's be real, the internet ate it up. From the infamous diner fight where King nearly turned Waffle House into WrestleMania, to his fiery clashes with his dad on IG Live. He's been serving more drama than a Bravo reunion episode. Every outburst, every meltdown, every cocky flex went straight to the trending page. King wasn't just T.I.'s son, he was his own circus, with the entire internet buying front row tickets. But here's where the story flips. Those wild antics that made him a meme machine? They suddenly didn't look so funny when the whispers of an ICU admission started circulating. And then the leak came. Doctors had delivered a final ICU report to the Harris family, and it was so grim that insiders described the moment as soul-crushing. Double quotes now. In the world of celebrity gossip, the term insider can mean anything from an actual nurse to somebody's cousin's barber. Who knows, a security guard at the hospital. But the phrasing was too perfect, too cinematic. Final report. The internet grabbed it, spun it, and turned it into a cultural wildfire. Overnight, hashtags exploded. Hashtag pray for King. Hashtag final report. Hashtag Harris family collapse. And collapse, they did. Witnesses described scenes straight out of a Greek tragedy. Family members rushing into the ICU, tears flowing, hands covering faces, knees buckling like they just got hit with a plot twist on Maury. One source swore that Tiny had to be helped out of the room after the words hit her like a ton of bricks. Another said T.I. punched the wall in frustration, pacing like a man watching his empire crumble. For once, there were no staged family photos. No, were good press statements. Number T.I. clapback tweets filled with big words only a dictionary respects. Just raw chaos. And that silence, that unusual lack of control, told the world everything it needed to know. Fans lost their minds. The same people who mocked King's antics a week ago suddenly turned into prayer warriors overnight. Twitter threads filled with candle emojis and crying gifs. TikTok edits of King laughing in old clips were suddenly slowed down, set to sad piano music, and captioned with "Gone too soon." The irony. King wasn't gone. But the internet has never needed facts to start the funeral playlist. Meanwhile, critics weren't pulling punches either. For every prayer, there was a troll reminding the world of King's attitude. Y'all crying for the same kid who disrespected his parents on live? One viral tweet said, "Racking up likes like a clearance sale." Another wrote, "Final report. More like final karma." Savage. Absolutely. Predictable. Completely. But the weight of the situation wasn't just in the memes or the hashtags. It was in the way the Harris family's carefully crafted brand unraveled in front of our eyes. For years, they balanced being hip-hop royalty and reality TV chaos with an unshakable swagger. But in that ICU room, swagger couldn't save them. Money couldn't buy peace. Fame couldn't stop tears. The so-called final report stripped them down to their most vulnerable state. And the world devoured it like hungry wolves. Let's not pretend this came out of thin air either. King had been on a collision course with this kind of headline for months. Every fight, every cocky speech about being tougher than the streets, every viral altercation built the tension like a slow-burn Netflix thriller. Fans joked about him being a walking storyline, but nobody expected the script to flip into drama with a final report as the cliffhanger. What made it sting even more was the family's silence. Normally, T.I. is quick to check the internet, Tiny is quick to post some reassurance. And King himself is quick to clap back at anyone with Wi-Fi. But this time, nothing. Just quiet halls, cryptic posts, and family members spotted outside the hospital with swollen eyes. That silence became the loudest confirmation the fans needed. Think about it. If everything was fine, T.I. would have already blasted the blogs, called out the fake news, and dropped a dictionary-heavy lecture about misinformation. Tiny would have posted a smiling family photo with a caption like "God got us." And King would have been live streaming from the ICU bed saying, "Y'all stop playing with my name." But instead, nothing. And that nothing screamed louder than any press release. So the first reactions weren't just shock, they were hysteria. Fans demanding answers. Blogs posting exclusive updates every 5 minutes. YouTube commentators milking the story with hour-long videos. Some people even claim to have leaked audio of the doctor's words. Though, let's be real, half of it sounded like recycled Grey's Anatomy scripts. Still, the effect was undeniable. The Harris family was officially trapped in a narrative they didn't control. And the world. The world was watching like addicts, waiting for the next dose of drama, because this wasn't just about King anymore. This was about everything he represented. The dangers of fame, the cracks in celebrity families, the dark side of raising kids under the spotlight. Every ICU update became a mirror, reflecting not just the Harris clan, but every family in the industry juggling egos, scandals, and public perception. And here's the part that really made jaws drop. Some insiders claimed the doctors didn't just deliver medical news. They allegedly warned that King's lifestyle, the stress, the constant battles, the never-ending headlines played a major role in what landed him in that ICU bed. If true, that wasn't just a health update. That was a statement. A statement that fame doesn't just break reputations, it breaks bodies. Suddenly, the Harris ICU moment wasn't just gossip. It was a cautionary tale. A storyline so messy, so outrageous, that even love and hip-hop producers probably sat back and said, "Damn, we couldn't write this better if we tried." And the fans. They were split right down the middle. Half were praying, half were dragging, but every single one of them was watching. Because at the end of the day, nothing pulls the internet together quite like tragedy dipped in scandal sauce. ETs. Start with the rappers. Because you already know they never miss a chance to drop commentary on someone else's downfall. Within hours, Boosie Badazz went live, choking back tears while preaching to the camera. "Y'all better pray for King. We can't lose another young one." Sounds noble, right? But give it 5 minutes and somebody had already turned Boosie's sobs into a TikTok remix with trap beats. The internet truly has no chill. 50 Cent. Oh, you know he had to get involved. He didn't go the prayer route though. That's too basic for him. Instead, he posted a photo of a chessboard with the caption, "Every king faces his checkmate. Stay strong, lil bro." Was it supportive? Was it trolling? Nobody could tell, but the post racked up 1 million likes faster than you can say vitamin water. Meanwhile, love and hip-hop stars like Yandi Rashida and Carly Red suddenly became philosophers overnight. They dropped long paragraphs about family over fame and the importance of cherishing loved ones. Cute, sure, but fans weren't buying it. One savage comment under Rashida's post read, "Girl, you wasn't this deep when you were fighting Sierra over chicken wings last season." The internet's memory might be short, but its pettiness lasts forever. But the real fireworks came when hip-hop beefs went on pause. Rappers who'd been sneak dissing each other for months suddenly united under one hashtag prayers for King. It was like watching Thanos and the Avengers hug it out. Even Young Thug supporters and Ghana's fans. Two camps that usually throw digital knives at each other came together in an online prayer circle. That alone was proof of how heavy this moment hit. And of course, when tragedy goes viral, the memes aren't far behind. Some of them were downright ruthless. One viral image photoshopped King Harris in a hospital bed next to Tupac, Biggie, and Pop Smoke with the caption, "Heaven's studio session loading. Dark." Absolutely. Did it break 1 million retweets? Of course, another meme had a screenshot of T.I. crying with the caption, "Expeditiously devastated." Because leave it to the internet to clown a man while his family is in crisis. Savage doesn't even begin to describe it. But not everyone was laughing. For every troll, there were genuine fans who saw the ICU saga as a wake-up call. TikTokers started making emotional videos saying things like, "This is why we need to stop glamorizing chaos. King's been crying for help all along and nobody listened." These heartfelt takes racked up millions of views, sparking comment wars between fans who believed it was true and others who accused them of clout-chasing grief. Then came the conspiracy theorists, because no viral story is complete without them. Twitter threads popped up suggesting this was all a cover-up for something bigger. Some said T.I. was hiding shady business deals and using King's ICU as a distraction. Others claimed the Illuminati was punishing the Harris family for breaking industry codes. And yes, somehow Diddy's name got dragged into it too, because in 2025, no scandal escapes a Diddy reference. But the most dangerous twist came from the Harris family's own silence. T.I., normally the first to clap back at blogs, dropped only one cryptic line: "God's plan always bigger than ours." That one sentence set the internet ablaze. Suddenly, Drake's God's plan was trending alongside King Harris, with fans making wild theories about hidden connections. Drake himself had to hop on Instagram like, "Y'all leave me out of this?" Tiny tried her best to calm things down with a photo of the family and the caption, "Together, always." But leave it to eagle-eyed fans to point out that King wasn't in the picture. BOOM instant proof that things were worse than anyone was saying. Within hours, TikTok detectives had zoomed in on every pixel of that photo like it was a Zapruder film, searching for hidden clues. And then there were the blogs. Lord have mercy, the blogs. They pumped out exclusive ICU updates every 5 minutes like they had doctors on speed dial. Some claimed King was stable. Others said he was critical. And one even swore they had audio of the doctor's speech to the family. Spoiler, the so-called leak sounded suspiciously like dialogue lifted from Grey's Anatomy. But did that stop people from sharing it? Not at all. By this point, the Harris saga wasn't just dominating hip-hop news, it was everywhere. CNN ran a short piece. TMZ had cameras camped outside the hospital. Even late-night comedians were making awkward jokes about it. One said, "King Harris is in the ICU." T.I. says he's praying. Tiny says they're together. Instagram says he's already in heaven. Who do we believe? The audience laughed, but the backlash was instant. Fans weren't having it. The internet may love jokes, but it doesn't forgive outsiders mocking their chosen tragedy. What made this moment truly surreal, though, was how fans themselves turned it into performance art. Candlelight vigils popped up outside the hospital. People printed King's face on t-shirts like it was already memorial merch. Some even live-streamed themselves crying, racking up thousands of views in the process. One girl sobbed on TikTok, "I didn't even know King like that, but it feels like I grew up with him." Cue millions of likes. At the same time, the backlash against the Harris family deepened. Old clips of King arguing with T resurfaced, with fans rebranding them as signs of a breakdown. Used to be funny was now labeled tragic, foreshadowing. Even interviews where T.I. brushed off his son's antics were repurposed as evidence that the family ignored the warning signs, and let's not ignore the opportunists. Rival rappers didn't dare mention King directly, but the subliminal shades started dripping like leaky faucets. One tweeted, "Protect your kids before fame eats them alive." Another wrote, "Life comes fast. Stay humble." Everybody knew who they were aiming at, but nobody had the guts to say the Harris name outright. Through it all, one question hung over everything like smoke after an explosion. Was this really the final report? Or was the internet just writing King's eulogy while the story was still being written? Because if the Harris family thought the storm had peaked, they were wrong. This wasn't the end of the drama, it was just the second act. The world had already collapsed with the family in that ICU. And now everyone was waiting to see if this story would end in tragedy, or an even bigger twist by the time the dust settled on the final ICU report headlines. It was clear this wasn't just another celebrity story. This was bigger, darker, and messier than anything the Harris dynasty had ever faced. The ICU whispers had transformed into a global obsession, and the aftermath was a cultural earthquake. First, let's talk reputation damage, because in Hollywood and hip-hop, perception is currency, and the Harris brand just went bankrupt overnight. T.I., once the swaggering king of the South, looked stripped of his crown. Every photo of him outside the hospital showed a man broken, pacing, hands shaking, eyes hollow. This wasn't the T.I. who bragged about his hustle or clapped back with dictionary-level clapdowns. This was a dad crushed under the weight of his own dynasty. And in the unforgiving rap game, that vulnerability wasn't seen as human. It was seen as weakness, tiny. Meanwhile, became the lightning rod for fan debates. Half the internet called her the saint who held her family together through unimaginable pain. The other half accused her of being too soft, too enabling, too blind to see her son spiraling until it was too late. Old clips resurfaced from family hustles showing her comforting King while T.I. lectured. And fans rewrote the narrative. This was the problem all along. She babied him. He rebelled. And now the ICU is the price. But the person most affected by the final report storm? King Harris himself. His name was no longer just associated with viral diner fights and cocky IG lives. Now he was branded as the tragic Prince of Atlanta. The cautionary tale of what happens when fame meets rebellion head-on. Fans cried for him, mocked him, prayed for him, and dragged him, sometimes all in the same comment thread. King Harris became both martyr and menace, victim and villain, and the ripple effects didn't stop at the Harris household. Every celebrity family felt the quake. Red carpet interviews suddenly included awkward questions like, "How are you protecting your kids from fame?" Even the Smiths couldn't escape the comparisons. Headlines read, "From Harris to Smith are celebrity kids doomed by fame." And let's not forget Diddy's scandal, which suddenly found itself stitched into the narrative. Because in internet logic, all chaos is somehow connected. Meanwhile, the media circus milked every second. YouTube commentators cranked out the rise and fall of King Harris videos like factory lines. TikTok flooded with edits, King laughing in slow motion, set to Billie Eilish tracks. Fan theories turned his every facial expression from past interviews into signs. One clip of King saying, "I don't need nobody telling me how to live," went viral again, but this time with captions framing it as a tragic prophecy. But the most brutal consequence wasn't public mockery or sympathy, it was the fractures inside the Harris family itself. Behind closed doors, whispers said T.I. and Tiny were at odds. T.I. wanted privacy. silence, control. Tiny wanted transparency, prayer posts, community. Their different strategies clashed like two generals on opposite sides of a battlefield. With King at the center as the wounded soldier, the siblings weren't spared either. Zonique, Domani, Eris suddenly dragged into the storm. Paparazzi followed their every move, analyzing expressions, outfits, even body language for clues. A video of Domani refusing to answer questions outside the hospital went viral, with fans saying, "See, he's hiding something." Eris, the baby of the family, was unfairly turned into a meme when someone captioned her old clip with, "Even she saw it coming." The internet's cruelty spares no age, and while the family drowned, opportunists thrived. Rival rappers dropped subliminals. One tweeted, "Every king faces consequences." Another said, "Money don't heal pain. Remember that?" They never named names, but the target was obvious. Through all this, one chilling reality became clear. The Harris family wasn't controlling the narrative anymore. The internet had hijacked the script. What was supposed to be a private ICU update had turned into a full-blown cultural spectacle. And in this spectacle, facts mattered less than vibes. Because here's the truth. No one outside that ICU room knows exactly what the doctors said. But thanks to leaks, whispers, and the world's obsession with drama, those words were immortalized as a final report that broke a family and fed a hungry internet. So what are the consequences? For King, it's a permanent scar on his legacy. No matter how this story ends, his name is now tied to ICU whispers, collapsed family members, and final reports. For T.I. and Tiny, it's a loss of control. Their empire cracked wide open. Their family dynamics exposed like an open wound. And for us, the audience, it's a brutal reminder that celebrity culture doesn't just entertain, it consumes. But let's keep it real. Will the internet move on? Absolutely. By next week, it'll be another scandal, another celebrity kid, another ICU rumor. But the Harris saga will always linger, stamped into the timeline like digital graffiti. And that's the cruel paradox of fame. You can survive the storm, but the internet will never let you forget you were in it. So, was this really King Harris's final ICU report? Or just another chapter in a never-ending saga of fame, family, and scandal? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, the Harris dynasty will never be the same. And there you have it, the tears, the chaos, the whispers, and the so-called final ICU report that turned the Harris dynasty into the internet's favorite soap opera. But if you think this story is over, think again. In the world of celebrity scandal, there is no ending, only cliffhangers waiting for the next meltdown, the next leak, the next headline that makes us gasp like we're watching reality TV on steroids. Now, here's where you come in. Don't just sit there scrolling like a background extra. Get loud. Smash that like button like your T.I. smashing a thesaurus. Drop your hottest takes in the comments. Was this truly King Harris's final report, or just another messy chapter in the never-ending saga of fame versus family? And most importantly, hit subscribe so hard your Wi-Fi begs for mercy. Because, let's keep it real, if you miss even one of these updates, you'll be that clueless person wandering into the group chat asking, "Wait, what happened?" Don't be that person. Stay locked in right here, where the scandals never sleep and the truth is always served with a side of sarcasm. We don't sip tea, we pour the whole damn kettle. We don't report news, we expose it, roast it, and serve it hotter than Atlanta asphalt in July and tomorrow. Another scandal will explode, another celebrity will crack, and you'll want front row seats to the mess. This is the chaos. This is the carnage. This is Expose Express, where fame is flawed, families are fractured, and scandals are forever.